a.m., October 26, 1909. Harbin Station, China. The attempted assassination of the Japanese general Ito Hirobumi is thwarted. The would-be assassin, An Jungen, is killed on sight. In 1910, Japan annexes Chosun province. Ito Hirobumi inaugurated as the first governor of the Chosun colony. March 1st, 1919. Protest against Japanese occupation at Pagoda Park suppressed. 1921. Inoue inaugurated as the second governor of Chosun colony. 1932. Assassin Yoon B.G. killed on the spot at Hongkou Park, Shanghai. 1936. The United States and Japan enter World War II as allies. 1943, the Japanese military takes control of Manchuria. 1945, atomic bombs are dropped on Berlin, ending World War II. 1960, Japan becomes permanent member of the UN Security Council. 1965, Japan launches its first satellite, Sakura-1, into orbit. 1988, Olympic Games held in Nagoya, Japan. 2002, World Cup soccer tournament held in Japan.
So good to see you.
Yes.
It's a phenomenal exhibition, don't you think?
Just that really is incredible. I don't know what to say.
Drink? Drink? There's no reason for all of us to patrol the floor, right? There are plenty of security guards all over the place who are...
We're in. It's a go.
That the terrorists who have taken Ito Hall and are allegedly holding hostages are a Fur-Eye Sinjin group identified as the Chosun Liberation Army. The CLA assert that Japan and Chosun cannot remain one nation, and that Chosun should be independent from Japan. They did not hesitate to use violence to lend credence to their extreme position. Common wisdom held that the group had disbanded when all its leaders were arrested after the 2007 Japan Culture Research Center break-in. However, today's resumption of the group's terrorist activities had made us realize that the CLA was still operating.
We've got 8 SWAT teams on site that are awaiting your orders.
How many are in there?
We think there's about 10 of them.
So what are their demands?
We haven't heard yet.
Can we make the first move?
Taking into consideration the safety of the hostages, I think it would be best if we not act in haste, Commissioner.
I'm sure you remember the Culture Research Center break-in. The longer we drag this out, the worse the damage for all involved will be. Believe me, these guys are brutal. I don't plan to negotiate with these Fur-Eye Sinjin any longer.
Tough break being called in on your vacation, right?
So what are we looking at?
That's hard to say. As far as we know, break is confined to the main hall, for now.
I have a bad feeling about this. It's the Culture Research Center nightmare all over again.
the hostages to the east emergency exit and wait. Understand?
Drop your weapon! I said drop it!
Drop your gun and surrender.
Are you out of your mind? I didn't come this far just to surrender!
There's nothing you can do now. Drop the gun.
You're Korean?
Drop the gun.
I asked you if you're a Korean! How can you point a gun at us?
To me, you're nothing but a criminal.
A criminal? How can you tell me that fighting for your country's a crime?
I'm going to count to 3.
Look, I am a captain in the Chosun Liberation Army, Kim Jong-won.
1,
I'm counting on you to convey my message to them.
2,
Don't forget that Chosun is an independent nation. You know the Japanese are the criminals who robbed us of our country.
So, Sakamoto, what exactly were you two talking about? Judging from their sophisticated break-in, their ability to defeat the museum's security system, and other factors, it leads us to believe that they were a highly trained team. These new Foray Sinjin are more organized and stronger, unlike the Foray Sinjin of the past. So by investigating the Ito Hall incident, we hope to be able to uncover significant clues that will help us anticipate any future actions from these new Foray Sinjin. However, with the information gathered thus far, we're unable to determine a motive.
It's obvious to me they were there to steal the artwork.
Taking into account the nature of the Furai Senjin, it soon becomes obvious that they would not commit a simple robbery.
He's right. Although some of the exhibits at Ito Hall were damaged due to the gunfire, there's no evidence that the Furai Senjin tried to steal anything.
So what were they after?
One interesting detail was the fact that the hostages were confined in a room on the 2nd floor. It seems as if they sequestered them so they wouldn't get hurt. And if that's the case, then it means that they had something else in mind. No sooner had they gotten the hostages out of the way than the police arrived earlier than expected. We know this from statements made by various hostages. Even more puzzling is the fact that one of them tried to escape with the hostages during their evacuation. This is the man. This is speculation on our part, but we think that the entire gun battle was a diversion. It's the only thing that makes any sense.
So then they sacrificed 10 people in order to let one escape?
I thought this was just getting your health care.
Finally, Saigo and I would like to follow up on this case.
Tell me, why do you get so worked up when the case relates to the Foray Sinjin? I think you have some kind of grudge against them. We could have just left it to Chief Miura, who was at the scene before us. Why'd you get me involved? You know, you're really something.
So, who do you think is the biggest victim in this case?
Obviously, the Inouye Foundation.
So don't you think the Inouye Foundation could help us out?
Well, then I guess I could start by taking a look into the Foundation's background.
Saigo? Sounds like a plan.
That was your idea all along?
Something about that picture.
Huh?
The Foray Senjin. Never mind.
here you are. This shouldn't affect your timetable. Inspector. We heard that you'd be coming.
Who is that?
You don't mean the chairman? Why, that was Mr. Jinji Inoue, chairman of the board of our foundation. He's the grandson of Mr. Inoue, the second governor of Chosun. That's known as the Utopian World. It was painted in 1447 by Kawabata Yukio. It's one of his most famous paintings. A true visionary, he was able to convey utopia exactly as he envisioned it in his dreams. This ceramic vase, with its stylized crackle pattern, is thought to be the very first example of its kind. I'm so relieved that these survived the incident undamaged.
Why the final exhibition?
The plan all along was to have our priceless Inoue collection transferred to the mainland after the conclusion of this exhibition tour. Although the exhibits on display here are truly amazing, to be honest, they are not considered the most important ones in the collection. The real treasures have already been moved to Busan to be shipped by boat. Some of them are quite large.
Do you know what this is?
That piece. I believe it was on display over there.
It seems that Inoue, who was Chosun's second governor, used his position to collect a vast number of cultural treasures and artifacts from China and Chosun. He amassed quite a collection. The exhibits on display in this particular tour were all obtained through official means, but I've heard the Inoue Foundation owns a number of esoteric items that individuals are forbidden to possess. Oh, and one time he even wanted to get a hold of a huge rock near Harbin in China, but he was unable to move it with the technology available at the time. So he simply claimed it and then bequeathed it to his foundation in his will. Quite an obsession.
So he finally obtained it after his death.
Mommy said to bind you because sappers...
Yeah, I know.
By the way, why did you ask me over?
That's because today... Well, why don't you ask Yuriko?
Long time ago, when your papa was enrolled in the police academy, he met your mama, and before too long they started to date each other. But just then, your papa and your mama had a fight over some silly little thing.
Why are you telling her all this?
Don't mind him. Your papa told her that maybe they should break up.
That's enough.
And yet your papa really loved your mama more than anything. And so he cried for days.
My papa really cried?
But you see, that's not all. He didn't just cry.
That's not the kind of thing you tell a child. She's heard enough.
Mama?
Your mama received a letter one day from your father. It was a special treat because I hadn't gotten a letter since I was in middle school. But the letter was written by someone I didn't know. It's funny. After reading the letter your father sent to me, I started thinking, if this fellow has a best friend like this, maybe I should think about making up with him.
Would you believe Yuriko still has that letter you wrote? So what exactly did he say to you in that letter? And why are you keeping a secret with someone else's wife?
Every time I see your family, I envy you. Yuriko is so kind, and Keiko's so cute.
This is all about that woman.
Huh?
The one you told me you keep seeing in those visions.
I don't know what that was. It seemed like a woman, but who knows what was really going on.
I said you saw her because you were tired, but that's not it.
Then what is it?
You should get married soon. Or do you still have feelings for that woman?
What woman?
I was pretty drunk at the police academy graduation party, but I still remember what you told me. You told me that you felt like you had been in love for a long time. Remember?
I told you that much. I don't understand.
Understand what?
Those Foray Senjin. Why do they fight with such passion, knowing it could cost them their lives?
I guess it's because they tend to cling to the past. Chosun ceased to exist a long time ago. It's been a part of Japan for nearly a century. And the people who don't want to accept that reality can only cling to an outdated idea. That's the problem. That's why you're obsessed with this case. You know, if I was of Chosun descent, maybe I'd be able to understand the way you feel about all this. But be realistic. You know as well as I do. We're both Japanese. This isn't the time to get all worked up over something like that. Sakamoto. You know, I've never once thought of you as Korean. I had a feeling you'd end up dragging me out to a place like this. You know, Korean district always gives me the creeps. No offense. Hey, buddy, you help us out? We're looking for someone. Part of an ongoing investigation. It's okay, we're JBI. Have you seen this guy?
Never saw him.
Thanks anyway.
I just got here myself and was having a smoke.
I already had dinner.
You used to jump out of bed for sushi. Here. Like father, like son? You know, you remind me a great deal of your father. Masao loved sushi when he was your age.
Let's not talk about my father.
Listen, Sakamoto.
I mean it now.
Your father was a great police officer.
If that were true, he wouldn't have been shot to death by fellow officers.
Forgive me, Sakamoto. Well, I guess it wasn't such a good idea to bring that up on a day like this. Forgive my timing, Sakamoto, but happy birthday. So, how's your investigation going?
Still gathering information.
Did you know there was a similar case 20-some years ago? We never figured out the motive in that case either. It was back in 1985, the Vladivostok case.
Chronological table of Furai Senjin-related incidents. 1985, Showa Year 60, attempted hijack of barge in Vladivostok. Related materials, Furai Senjin in JBI SWAT team. Agent Sakamoto Masao suspected as a spy. Index of materials. Barge, cargo, manifests. Inoue Culture Association. Industry, culture related. Port of origin, Harbin, China. Destination, Busan, Chosun Province, Japan. Cargo manifest, access denied.
So what are you working on now?
Something that I thought might be related to the Ito Hall case.
Huh.
Really, Hideo? Don't you think it's time you got some new glasses?
Well, I know they're old-fashioned, but my wife bought them for me, and she likes them.
Then I guess you'll have to keep them.
Here, the pictures that you asked for.
Thanks.
Hey, what's the rush?
During our initial investigation, we overlooked a simple fact. The spot where this artifact was found is more than 20 meters from where it was displayed. Can't believe we didn't notice it.
It's a big deal.
It's solid rock, and it's not that small. It's hard to believe that someone could have kicked it that far, much less throw it. And remember that this guy was trying to escape with the hostages. That answer your question?
Sorry, Inspector. Everything left here this morning.
What are you saying?
The exhibition was canceled by the Foundation, who decided to ship everything to the mainland. In light of recent events, I'm sure you can understand the reason for this decision, Inspector.
Someone's standing in the road.
Mission completed. Draw at once. K1. Answer me. K1! K1! forgotten what we're doing out here. We haven't come this far to not follow orders. Katie, withdraw before she changes her mind again.
Both this case and the Ito Hall case, we never learned their motive. However, we have determined their target was this. It's known as the Lunar Soul, and scientists believe it to be thousands of years old, 2300 BC to be exact. The Japan Culture Research Center excavated it in China in 1923, led by an Inoue survey team. It was found in the Wandel Mountains near Harbin at a site thought to have been used for ceremonies.
But why would they try to steal such an insignificant object?
That's the question. The Foray Senjin tried to steal this lunar soul despite the casualties, and now they finally succeeded. We know their target was this lunar soul, but what we still don't know at this time are the details of why they needed it. As you can see, I prepared a list of similar cases. Starting with the Inoue commemorative hull bombing back in 1975. Then an attempted barge hijacking in Vladivostok in 1985. The Inoue welfare hall takeover in 1997. One case in 2005, two in 2006, and even 5 cases between 2007 and now. And finally, this case. We believe that they are all connected either directly or indirectly to the Inoue group.
So then it's your conclusion that their target was the Inoue Foundation.
These were not coincidences. The Foray Senjin and the Inoue Foundation are clearly connected, and all these cases involve something we don't yet understand. And so in order to find the answers, I now believe we must fully investigate the Inoue Foundation.
A full investigation? The Inoue Foundation is much more powerful than you think. We cannot take action without solid evidence.
What is a real can of worms? I wouldn't rush into this.
Looking for conspiracies.
The Inoue Foundation.
Why, you afraid?
Sakamoto, tell me you got the okay from the commissioner.
The higher up they are, the more they act like cowards. Even if I had solid evidence, the commissioner would still back off.
You know we shouldn't be doing this without his permission.
You saw the record of that incident in Vladivostok 24 years ago.
I know. The case where the Foray Senjin tried to hijack a barge.
The report says they were after semiconductor chips worth a few hundred million yen. But there was something else on that barge. Can you guess what?
The Inoue Foundation's involved?
Exactly. Something they tried to ship from Harbin to the mainland. Remember that large artifact you told me Inoue wanted to have even after he died? Well, that was on the barge.
And so then you believe that the artifact was the Foray Senjin's real target?
Now you're catching on.
Okay, let's say you're right. But then what does it have to do with this case?
Harbin.
Harbin?
That artifact and the lunar soul were both excavated at the same time near Harbin. The conflict between the Foray Senjin and the Inoue Foundation is linked to these two artifacts.
I'm not really sure I know what's going on. There seems to be some sort of connection. Harbin, that's where they tried to assassinate Ito Hirobumi 100 years ago. I seem to recall that Inoue saved Ito's life back then, and then later became second governor, right?
The tone of your inquiry is unacceptable.
Just answer the question. Ever since Vladivostok, there's no record of this artifact at all. It's no longer on the Inoue Foundation's collection list, but I'm sure it's still here.
How dare you continue this line of questioning?
Why do you insist on hiding it?
Listen to me. Do you really think it's appropriate to barge in here and start nosing around, asking questions about some incident that happened 24 years ago?
Sir, we were wrong. We didn't follow proper procedures. In the future, we'll request your cooperation in any
If
investigation.
you'll just let us talk to Mr. Inouye, we can get to
Well,
the
one
bottom.
thing's clear, you don't have any manners at all, do you? Where do you think you're at exactly? You've got some nerve treating the head of the Inouye Foundation like a common criminal.
Tell me, why are you changing the subject? Wasn't the item on that barge the same one that was brought down from the Wandale Mountains near Harbin?
Come on, what's the matter with you? You're out of line, Sakamoto.
Excuse me. What did you say your name was?
Sakamoto Masayuki.
Vladivostok in 1985. Well, now that you mention it, I seem to remember something, Inspector Sakamoto. It had to do with a specific Korean police officer assigned to the case. A tragic story, actually. You see, there was a corrupt police officer who supported the Furai Senjin.
You know that has nothing to do with my question.
I believe he was shot and killed by his partner, was he not?
Just answer the question.
Sakamoto Masao.
What was on that barge?
I already told you I don't know. I could be wrong about this, but I heard his son became a police officer too.
Sakamoto, what's wrong with you?
What?
You were rude.
Yeah, so?
What got into you back there, huh?
You saw it too, didn't you? He was avoiding answering. I'm sure he's hiding something.
Is that why you got so upset? Is that why you lashed out without thinking of the consequences? Listen to me, partner. We always have to remain calm. So don't ever bring your emotions about your old man into one of our cases again!
What did you say? You're right. My father was the lowest kind of police officer. He turned into a Furai Senjin lapdog. He was a coward and a traitor. Is that what you wanted to hear? So now do you despise me? Well, do you? If it wasn't so pathetic, it might even be funny. But I know full well the stain that taints my blood.
Sakamoto. I shouldn't have questioned your emotions. I'm sorry.
No matter what it takes, I'll get to the bottom of this.
You did it.
Ancient Koreans worshipped the sun and the moon. The temple stone, an ancient altar, dedicated to the sun god Haimuso, used to be here.
So then, Dr. Ono, can you tell me, what exactly was the lunar soul used for?
We assume it was used to cut off the heads of sacrificial animals. It was probably named the Lunar Soul because people thought that the soul of the moon dwelled in it. The soul of the moon. Don't you think that is such a beautiful name? It was removed more than 20 years ago. The villagers tried to stop them, but couldn't do much because those who came were quite forceful. Many innocent people were crushed to death as they attempted to remove it. The villagers began saying the area was cursed, so now no one lives around here anymore. The people that removed the temple stone were from the Inouye Foundation.
Saigo, I heard the commissioner's been checking up on you.
Why?
Why not ask him yourself?
This is the one I told you about, Saigo Shojiru. Say hello to the chairman of the board at Inouye, Mr. Inouye Genji.
Don't move.
Do you know me? You must know who I am.
JBI Agent Sakamoto Masayuki.
What else do you know?
That you're a traitor who will point a gun at his own brothers.
You're all criminals. You've no right to call me brother.
We're all criminals? What about your father? You've called him a criminal too. Doesn't that give me the right to call you brother? All we want is to get our country back.
Nobody else wants it back. Can't you see that what you're doing only makes other Koreans
Cut
suffer?
the crap! You're nothing but a patsy for these imperialist dogs!
Illegal occupation is an antiquated idea.
Shut up!
Chosen is no more!
Shut up!
You won't shoot me. I can see it in your eyes.
Okay then, you shoot me if you think you can. proves to me that you don't have the courage to be one of us.
Sakamoto, I thought you should know you've just been taken off this case. And do you know why? It's because you're Korean.
What exactly is this supposed to mean? How can you rationalize my job suspension?
So tell me, do you really think that your inappropriate behavior was justified? I recall telling you to go after the 4-Ace engine, but I don't remember telling you to investigate Inoue. Are you trying to provoke the Inoue Foundation?
I believe that the Inoue Foundation is the key to this case. And unless we can somehow force them to tell us the truth, the 4-Ace engine...
Enough. I suppose you think you're going to end up some sort of hero by investigating a well-respected foundation. Your arrogant behavior disgusts me. Who the hell do you think you are acting like that? Especially with a foundation as powerful as Inoue's.
The incident that took place in 1985 was by people who targeted the Temple Stone. The exact same item is a factor in this current case.
Sounds to me like you have your own agenda. Besides, you investigated on your own, without even bothering to inform your superiors. That's reason enough for my action. Do you have anything else to say regarding this matter?
No, sir.
His letter to you. What did it say?
Well, it was a very long letter. And in the course of it, Sakamoto wrote many things about you as well as himself. Then, at the end of the letter, he confessed that you couldn't live without me. Finally, he wished that we two would reconcile, if for nothing other than your friendship's sake.
Were you really all that sad when I scolded you for not eating your kimchi? You were crying your eyes out.
No, I wasn't.
Yes, you were.
It was just because you made it too spicy. You know, I haven't been able to eat kimchi since.
Oh, crybaby.
Your dreams.
Come to think of it, do you remember your school picnic?
Haven't we talked enough about the past?
Don't you remember? I went to all that trouble to make what I thought was a special lunch for you, but you refused to eat it and then burst into tears. You told me later you were sad because you were the only one there, without any parents. The way you said it really made me mad.
Don't forget, I was just a kid.
I know. I felt frustrated because you didn't understand how I felt. But to be honest about it, I was mad at myself for failing your dad. That's the truth. Then and there, I made a promise to myself that I would do whatever it took to make sure you wouldn't feel that same kind of pain ever again. In that way, I kept my promise to your father.
Why'd you tell me about Vladivostok? If you were so concerned that I wouldn't get hurt anymore.
Sakamoto, I'm trying to tell you that you're mistaken about your father. It's complicated. Can't you see he wasn't just the corrupt cop you believe him to be? It's true. Your father did eventually side with the Furai Sinjin, but he thought that was the only thing he could do for Chosun.
I was only 7 years old back then. Was it worth abandoning his family for?
Listen to me. Your father worried about you until the very end. Before he left for Vladivostok, he visited me. Would you believe it? He wanted to talk. That's when he asked me to take care of you. It was the only time that I ever saw him cry. How could I refuse his request? You need to understand the pain he felt from having to leave you behind. He loved you more than anything in the world.
I've heard enough. Besides, it's time for a refill.
I'll get it.
You were very drunk and must have been upset about being suspended. You protested to the chief, but he criticized you, so you became very angry and shot him. Isn't that right? Answer me!
Saigo, see what you can do.
Someone was trying to kill me. My uncle was killed because the killer thought he was me. My uncle died because of me.
Let's start with your name. What is your name?
You're against me too. I don't understand what's happening. He was like a father to me. You know
Why
I
don't you
didn't
answer
do
my
it.
question?
Let me know. Soon as you hear anything.
You were found at the scene holding the gun that shot him. And how do you explain the fact that there was not a single trace of your so-called intruder?
It sounds like a conspiracy. Saigo, tell me. Are you part of it? Look me in the eyes! So why are you trying to trap me? It must be something to do with the current case. Tell me, is the Inouye Foundation that important? Or could it be because I stumbled onto the truth? Why do this to me?
Sakamoto, you are under arrest for the murder of Chief Takahashi. Do you understand? Forensics has determined the bullet taken from the Chief's body came from your gun. And that's all the evidence we'll need to proceed to trial. Arrest him. At least you'll be in good company once you're in jail. You see, there's quite a few Koreans there, just like you.
So then, Hideo, I see you got a new pair of glasses.
Oh, yeah. The old ones were out of style.
Look out! Hey, look out! Look out! Look out! Get back! Get back! Get out!
Don't come back. The next time we meet, we will be enemies.
Where am I? So, where am I?
I wouldn't exactly call it a safe house, so don't leave this room unless you want to get caught. There's quite a few people looking for you out there.
Wait a minute. Thanks for everything.
Don't move. The way you eat, you must be Japanese. Do you have any idea how many Koreans have died because of you guys?
Don't shoot. It's okay.
Stay where you are. So, you must be Heron's boyfriend, right?
What?
I used to be the only man allowed in her room until you showed up.
So what's your name?
Minjae.
Minjae.
Hey!
Little.
I can't stand arrogant pricks like you. Just what the hell do you think you're doing? Stinky bastard.
That's enough now. I've come to take you to someone who wants to meet you.
Good to see you, Sakamoto.
Do you know me?
Actually, I knew your father, Sakamoto Masao. Have you heard of Anjongdan?
Do you mean the assassin who tried to kill General Ito Hirobumi?
Oh, assassin. I suppose you have good reason to call him that. Have you wondered how history would have turned out if he'd succeeded? I find it a fascinating question. It can lead to all sorts of what-ifs. What if Japan had lost the Second World War? What if atomic bombs had been dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki instead of Berlin? And what if Korea had been liberated? What if I told you the history you now know had been tampered with?
There were several 100,000 casualties and horrible damage as a result of the atomic bombs. The Chosen were ecstatic about gaining their independence, while the Japanese were devastated by their defeat. But soon Chosen divided itself into northern and southern factions and began a war. Japan soon became what we'd call an economic superpower. They used their supposed reconstruction to gain control of the global...
Fortunately for all Koreans, after 60 years of forced separation in the year 2008, North and South Korea agreed to set their differences aside and reunite. Shortly thereafter, Korea became a rising power in Northeast Asia. Then, a movement to reclaim the land that once belonged to their ancestral dynasty gained momentum. You may not be aware of this, but the area we now call Manchuria belonged to Korea until the 7th century. The Chinese government refused to allow any Koreans to travel there. It was only after persistent requests that the archaeological research was approved for that area on condition of China and Japan's equal involvement. As luck would have it, the researchers discovered a strange archaeological site.
That ancient archaeological site held the secret which would open the doorway of time. Fortunately for us, a Japanese research team was the first to find it. Who knows if it was luck or fate?
They found what's known as the Temple Stone, and together with the Lunar Soul, it has the ability to open the doorway of time.
We'd wanted to find a way to escape the defeat of the war, and the nightmare of Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Once they discovered what the Temple Stone could do, a group of Japanese right-wing extremists sent in a way back in time. He traveled back to October 26, 1909, and once there he was able to stop on Jungan's attempt to kill Ito Hirobumi and alter history. That was the beginning of what would ultimately become known as our unfortunate alternate history, something we neither embraced nor, to our knowledge, could do anything to reverse. You know, when you stop to think about it, it's absolutely amazing how a single person can effectively change the course of history for the entire world. Because he came from the future, in a way knew exactly what would happen during the next 100 years.
What I've told you is top secret, known only to the leaders in the organization. Realize that the truth about the Temple Stone has been completely hidden by the Inoue Foundation. But the Foray Senjin, if we were to judge from their recent actions, it is obvious that they know about the Temple Stone. They were never supposed to know anything.
However, as fate would have it, a female researcher was accidentally drawn through the doorway of time just as it was about to close. She didn't realize until much later what had happened to her. But once she figured it out, she chose to pass the story down to resistance groups even to this day. They are what you call now the Foray Senjin. I know this is all hard to believe. I was like that too at first. Over the years, in order to preserve this knowledge for future generations, many have paid the ultimate price to keep this unbelievable story of deception and fraud alive. Your father is one of those who gave his life for the cause. Now we understand that we must put history back on its original path. Thankfully, we've recently learned that the Temple Stone will be sent back to Japan tomorrow night. This will be our last chance. The last chance for us to right the wrongs of our fraudulent history and put an end to our pain and suffering once and for all. Everything is riding on our success. We've endured decades of disgrace and humiliation in anticipation of this one day. If we fail in our mission tomorrow, then history will continue on the wrong path, and the truth will be silenced forever. Billions of lives over the course of several generations, never able to realize their true potential. We cannot afford to miss this final opportunity, whatever the cost.
If we can't stop them, and if the nightmare of the defeat of the war and the tragedy of the atomic bombs are repeated, then we will once again carry the pain in our hearts that will never heal. I'm sure you understand that Yuriko's family is no exception, seeing that they've lived in Hiroshima for years. The possibility exists that Yuriko, and thus Keiko, would not be alive in this world. Most importantly, we cannot give these crude Koreans any opportunity to challenge our world. The great empire of Japan must not fail.
Commissioner, if in the course of doing my duty, I enter the doorway of time, will I still be able to get back?
Understand that once you go through the doorway of time, you cannot come back to this world.
This is all just so unbelievable. Do you think it's possible? It doesn't make sense.
Your father believed it, you know. And what about all those other people? I've often thought that it must have been hard for anyone to believe it at first. But now we've come to the realization that regardless of whether or not we believe that time travel is possible, that's no longer the point. It's much bigger than that. Do you see that kid? He lost his father just like you did. Do you think that he even understands the concepts of liberation or independence or any of these grand, idealistic words? But one thing's for sure. He is proud of his father. He understood that his father was doing the right thing. And in that way, he endorsed his father's beliefs. Minjae hasn't forgotten his father's promise that he will come back someday. That's his hope. And if that hope is taken away from him, what else is left for us to do? Now that's worth fighting for.
Where is it?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
The Furai Senjin's hideout.
Listen, this is just a bar.
Look around.
Make sure they're not coming through on the second floor. Go now.
What's going on?
It's all because of him. What if they followed him here? I should have killed him a long time ago. Are you trying to get yourself killed?
You don't have much time.
You're right. But you are coming with us, aren't you?
We have to go our separate ways now. But that doesn't mean that this is the end of it.
Sir.
There's nothing left for me to do. It all depends on what you were able to do now. Myungak, you must leave now.
Hurry!
Myungak!
You know what you have to do.
You be careful.
time for me to say goodnight.
That's right. Good night, Keiko.
Papa, I'm going to go to bed now.
Good night, Keiko. Yes. Yes. I understand.
They're still here. Find them!
Sakamoto, I can't let you do this. I won't let you change the history of Japan.
Don't interfere, Saigo. This is about my homeland, and so many people died to get back. I don't want to lose it again.
Sakamoto, shoot me. Sakamoto! It's either you or me. One of us has to die here. There's no other way. Shoot me. Shoot me now. Sakamoto! If you don't kill me, I'll have to kill you! Sakamoto!
these brave people sacrificed their own lives in order that we could get our country back. And if it were not for them, you guys wouldn't be here today. Now then, An Jungin, you all should know what he did, right?
Yes, ma'am.
An Jungin was a hero.
Mama Duck! Quack, quack! Mama Duck!